Hello, SYNGAP land, and happy Thanksgiving. Today is Thursday, November 27th, 2025. We are in the 48th week of the year. Before I jump in with episode 189 of the Cure SYNGAP 1 podcast, which this is, I just want to remind everybody that on our website, curesyngap1.org/clinical-trials, curesyngap1.org/clinical-trials, you can see every clinical trial we are aware of. There are currently 2 clinical trials recruiting for novel therapies for our patients. The Emerald trial from Praxis is recruiting for relutrigine, and the Deep Ocean trial from Longboard is recruiting for bexicaserin. Both of these are pretty interesting, and I'm told that there are Syngapians in both. Actually, I know that there are Syngapians in both of them. Check them out. If your kid is having countable motor seizures, check those studies out and see if you can enroll. If you want to go talk to your doctor, go to talk to your doctor. But you can also just go to the website, click. Their doctors will call you. They will screen you. They will tell you if you can get into the study. And then you can ask them a bajillion questions. They have both companies, Longboard and Praxis, have retained really great clinicians to support families through this. And I just, I had one mom call me and tell me she's in a trial and share her experience. I won't tell you which trial and I won't tell you her experience, but we had a great conversation. And she's like, I just don't think we're talking about this enough, Mike. And I was like, all right, let me make sure I talk about it. All right. So I talked about clinical trials. Better medicines, guys. They're right here. Go for it. And both of those, by the way, are small molecules, so they're going to be oral. These aren't for ASOs, which should be coming next year if they're approved in the U.S., but that's a whole separate conversation. Let's talk about why it's taken me over 2 weeks to get to this. Well, it's been nuts. I went to the Milken Health Summit again this year. I've been part of a program called Faster Cures there. Great program, great people at Milken, and I'm just very lucky to have been involved in that. I don't know if they're going to have me back anymore now that program's over, but it was a treat. Links in the show notes if you're curious. I've had Tony at home, as I mentioned in the last episode. Tony is still home. We still are out of school. We're still mad at Helix, and trying to just figure out where to send him. It's crazy making. I've done a natural history study visit for the ProMMiS Natural History Study at ProMMiS, the ProMMiS Natural History Study at Stanford. That was great. And I also went and spoke at the Ultrabootcamp, which is always a treat. Links in the show notes. Not to mention working closely with our incredible staff of Virginia McNamara, our president and COO, Catherine Heldy, our CSO, Chief Scientific Officer, and Lauren Perry, our long-standing operations superstar. So it's been nuts, but I'm really excited to see all of you at the conference next week. And it's literally going to be the best ever. So let me just talk a little bit about ProMMiS here, and then we can jump into some other things. I was at ProMMiS Stanford. So the original ProMMiS site is at CHOP. That is a large program. A lot of people on the East Coast are going. People on the West Coast were like, hey, this is no joke, traveling to Philly. We have a site now in Colorado, and we have a site at Stanford. And neither site can see as many people as CHOP can see. CHOP's like, come this Thursday, come next Thursday, every Thursday. Stanford and Colorado are a little less capacity, so you got to plan ahead. We currently have dates that are enrolling at Stanford, December 10th and 11th. There's 2 slots. February 25th and 26th, there's 2 slots. And May 27th, 28th, there's 2 slots. You can send us an email to enroll, promise@curesyngap1.org. And ProMMiS is spelled PROMMIS. So if you're a parent of a Syngapian and you haven't done this, maybe you're recently diagnosed, maybe you've been living under a rock, I don't know, come and do the natural history study, right? You get clinical advice from clinicians who've seen Syngapians before. You get to make sure your data is shared with the best natural history study and the biggest natural history study for Syngap in the world. And you get to help us form these natural history studies, right? Like we're learning a lot from the doctors, and we're also saying to the doctors, hey, this could have been better. Why didn't you do this? Let's make it better. We're still in the very early days of Syngap, guys, and doctors are still figuring out our disease, and they're still figuring out how to do a natural history study for Syngap. So if you have an experience at one of these sites and you're like, I wish they'd done this differently, sometimes that's a good idea. Sometimes people don't know what they're talking about. But call us, give us your feedback, and we'll be like, oh, that makes sense. We'll be like, oh, we do it like that for this reason. So whatever. ProMMiS. All of us have to do ProMMiS. It's good for our kids, it's good for us, and it's good for the Syngap community. I want to note that today is Thursday, and that means Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. 5 days from now is Giving Tuesday. This is the big giving day. If you haven't set up an Unlock fundraiser, get on it. curesingap1.org/unlock. curesingap1.org/unlock. That's the name of our year-end fundraiser. Set up a page for your kid. It's really easy. If it's not, email us. We'll help you. And raise some money. I talked a lot about this in the last episode 188. Go listen to it. Links in the show notes. We also just put out a video. I'm sure we put it out on all channels, but I only share LinkedIn stuff. So go to our LinkedIn, or links in the show notes. Watch that video. It's a beautiful video. We're sharing it on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all the things. Share it out. Share it to your friends for Giving Tuesday. And don't wait till Tuesday, right? Share it out over Thanksgiving weekend. Share it out on Monday. Say, hey, this is an important organization. They're working to make, insert loved one's name here, future better. They're tireless. Please support them. It's a really big deal, guys. So I want to just talk a little bit about the conference too. We have record headcount this year. Record headcount, 20% up from last year. Last year, because it was on the West Coast, was a little lower than the year before. So we're 20% up from last year, 15% up, 15%, I don't remember, up from the year before. But big numbers. We have 237 people registered for the Science Day, and we're like pushing the capacity of that room. And 180 people registered for the Family Day, of which about 25 are Singapians. So it's going to be an epic gathering. And if you're sitting there on the fence, you're like, oh, registration's closed, call us. We'll squeeze you in. Like this is it happens once a year, guys. We all get together. We all have drinks and meals together. There's a reception on Thursday night that's free. There's family dinner on Friday night. Get your tickets for family dinner. Again, links in the show notes, but get your tickets for family dinner. Make sure you're with us. It's just an epic 2 days, and I absolutely can't wait. Also, two more things. The agendas are up. So if you're like, what are we going to talk about all day? Links in the show notes. Go look at those agendas. Detailed agendas, like 10-minute slots, 15-minute slots. The Science Day is going to be nuts. Like just... And the Family Day is going to be great. There's a lot of learning, a lot of sharing from other experienced family members. If you're newly diagnosed and you're like, I don't know if I'm ready. You're not ready. You're not ready. You're never ready. This disease sucks. You're never ready. But the sooner you connect with the community and learn from people who've done what you're not sure how you're going to do, the better. So if you just got diagnosed today and you're listening to this podcast on your way back from the hospital, sign up for the conference. Get yourself to Atlanta on Thursday, December 4th, Friday, December 5th. Join us. See why this community is so exceptional. We keep talking a little bit, and then I might stop at 10 minutes and do another one. PubMed, guys, super exciting. I mentioned at the top, we're in week 48. We're in week 48 of the year. PubMed is at 52. PubMed is at 52. And if you've been listening, you know that PubMed tracks all the papers that are out there that talk about SYNGAP. So the fact that PubMed's at 52 is great because what we want is to get it up to 54. So this year is better than last year, right? So it shows that there's a growing interest in SYNGAP. Just to put that in perspective, the first human with SYNGAP was diagnosed in 2009. The first human with SYNGAP was diagnosed in 2009. That's only 16 years ago. The gene itself was discovered in 1998. 1998. What are we in right now? That's 27 years ago. So that means that people have been writing papers about SYNGAP or Singapians for 27 years. But half the papers that have been written about SYNGAP have been written in the past 4 years, according to PubMed. So we are like hockey sticking, right? It's happening, and it's super exciting. I wanted to talk about two of those papers, and I'm going to stop this episode and go to the next episode. Paper one is there was a great paper out of CHOP comparing SYNGAP and STX-BP1, which is the two diseases they're focusing on through their incredible N Center. And it was using a cerebral palsy scale. So what's good to know about that is it shows us that our kids are not as severely affected as CP kids. They don't go up to 5. But we do consistently score at certain levels, 1 and 2. And that's just giving us another tool for us to assess our kids in clinical trials. So that's a really important paper. Great job, team at CHOP. And then there's another paper where SRD patients are compared to others. This is led by our friend Tom Frazier. And it concludes that of the genetic diseases analyzed, guess what? SYNGAP is the worst. And this is exactly what Connie Smith-Hicks said in her paper, both links in the show notes, when comparing SYNGAP to SHANK3 and others. So These papers, guys, they're coming and they're useful for clinical work. And if you're explaining to doctors how bad sleep is, you can pull these papers. Links are in the show notes. I'm going to stop and then I'm going to talk about one more paper in the next episode.